Hi, Andy. We're really excited today to announce Mayfair Equity Partners has made a significant investment into LoopMe. That's a total of $120 million coming from Mayfair and the funds that they advise, valuing LoopMe around $200 million. And I think it's a really significant milestone after 10 years now in the business that Mayfair would come in and become the majority shareholder in the business. We'd known Mayfair for a few years. We'd nearly worked together in the past. We also know some of the investments they've made are actually partners and customers. So we'd had a good dialogue going for a while. And in fact, Mayfair had been out looking at the market and kept hearing really positive things about LoopMe from some of our customers. And they'd actually contacted us, and we started to have discussions in a serious way back towards the back end of last year, and have now signed an agreement to be able to move forward. And I think apart from being a really strong validation for the business, it also helps us to really kind of grow the business further. That's thinking more about international expansion, thinking about our products. So as a business now, we're close to $100 million of revenue delivered last year. And we've been growing about 50%. In fact, it was over 50% growth this last year. We've been doing that every year for the last 3 years, even through these difficult times with COVID. And we're doing that profitably as well. So I think that's a really interesting time for the business, because we get to kind of design our own destiny, if you like. And by that, I mean that we're able to consider things like new products that we're investing in ourselves. We might even look towards acquisitions of other businesses to pull into our platform, which is significant. It's predominantly North America, where we work with over 300 clients, many of the big known brands that you'd be very familiar with. But we also have presence across Europe and into APAC as well. As well as thinking about things like acquiring other businesses, we're also looking to the potential to go public ourselves. We've continued to grow very rapidly, and that could be a very interesting strategy for us to investigate with Mayfair, who have good experience around that area. In addition, Mayfair has really good in-house expertise, if you like, that it can help bring us around forming better teams, managing stronger growth, and thinking more like a sort of a grown-up business, if you like. So it's an exciting time for the business, and exciting to have Mayfair on board.
Stephen, let's talk about the sector and the work that you guys do, why performance is become so important, and why you feel your product has resonated, and what's next from a product standpoint.
Yeah, so what LoopMe does that's really special is we work around brand advertising. That's typically video. And the future of that is very much in the app space. So we've seen huge growth in line with the apps, growth in mobile apps over the last 10 years. And we're moving now more into CTV, which is also an app space, and even looking toward things like the metaverse, also apps. And what we've done is, whilst being respectful of identity, we've learned to use real-time learning and artificial intelligence to produce measurably better results for advertisers, particularly against the kind of things that brand advertisers look for. And that might be securing a group of people who now intend to purchase your product, or are aware of your product, or consider your product. Classic goals that TV advertising in the past would have driven. And we produce measurably better results by learning in flight. We can also help drive people into stores, and even optimize against actual sales measured in stores as well. And I think that this industry is really interesting for a couple of reasons. The first being that it's still a really strong growing industry. Bringing brand adverts into the mobile app space, with especially areas like gaming, for example, is around an $8 billion market, and it's growing very quickly. In the next 4 years, we will have doubled the size of that market opportunity. So that's a really strong tailwind that we're coming with. But there's also a lot of problems in the market. There's not others that have managed to join up the dots to optimize beyond standard measures like clicks or views, whilst we're actually optimizing against outcomes, the things that marketers really want to drive. So the market is large and growing, and there's real problems to solve still in the market for brand advertisers. And the future of brand advertising really does lie in the app ecosystem. It sits with mobile apps, with connected television, and in the future, even into the metaverse.